Hi, everybody. My name is JP Atkins, and I am your host today. I'm here with the lovely Deborah Johnson. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties. The video camera is not working like I wanted to. I should have that fixed by next week for you. And we're going to just hang on and talk anyways. Um, Deborah is a really good friend of mine. I am so lucky to know her, and she's such a dynamic person. And so, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited about this.
This is the first one in a while. So I was getting good, and now I'm like back to, oh, how do I do this again?
That's great.
So tell me, what is your go-to takeout food?
My go-to takeout food is Thai Phi, which
Yeah.
is right around the corner. It is Asian carry-out. They have sushi. They have everything there, sushi and everything, and they're wonderful. And they remember my name when I walk through the door, which is, I mean, it's the only place that I know of, and all the places that I go to, you walk in the door and they say, "Hi, Deborah, what do you want? What can I get you to eat?" I mean, it's great.
Yeah,
Good marketers.
that is a really good thing. I know the company. I'm so horrible at names. I'm horrible. Even people at the Spiritual Life Center. Deborah also goes to the Spiritual Life Center with me. Is one of the active members, and even at there, I have to think. There's a couple that I just cannot remember their name, and it drives me crazy.
That's why we have name tags.
Exactly.
I love name tags.
It was funny. John called me and said, "What's this person's name?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he was looking for someone else's name, but it was the same name, and that's how he connected them and couldn't remember her name, and that was bad. So,
Yeah.
So tell me, I know that you travel a lot. Tell me, what is your favorite place that you ever traveled to?
Wow, that's a great question. Let me think. I think when I lived in the most exotic place that was so different from what I was used to, because I'm born and raised in Michigan, the place that really shook me up and really made me think about, oh my God, the world is so much bigger, so much I don't know, was Alaska. I lived in Alaska for a year and a half. And the northern lights and the snow and living in a cabin with no electricity and no water. And I had a 2-seater outhouse that you open up the door and could look out over the beaver pond. I mean, it was so different, just absolutely different place. I loved Alaska. I read so many books and hung out with my dog in my little cabin for a long time. Just an amazing place.
How did you live without running water? I can't imagine.
Well, I'll tell you what I did was I joined the fire department. And the fire department had a firehouse just down the road from me. And if you were a fireman there, what they would do is let you take a shower there and get your water there. So I would haul water from the firehouse in 5-gallon jugs, set it right next to my sink, which had a hole in the bottom of it that drained right over a stream, because I was literally, the foundation of my little cabin was 2 logs over a stream.
Oh,
and my
wow.
little cabin was this little cabin that sat on a stream. And in the wintertime, everything would freeze and one end of the cabin would tip up. And when it thawed, it would level out during the summertime. It was an amazing place.
That sounds like it.
Yeah.
That sounds like it. So if you were to live anywhere now, where would you live?
Well, I've been focusing on Costa Rica. I have been listening to people who live there. I've been on Facebook connection with people that have been in Costa Rica. And I actually went to an international living convention in Las Vegas where people that were interested in living in Central America came, as well as people that did live there. And we communicated and they had all kinds of information. And so I hung out with some of those individuals. And I think I would love to spend a couple months a year, maybe 3 months, 4 months a year down in Costa Rica and just go there and sort of have a party house where all my friends could come down and for 2 weeks, for a minimal amount of money, have something, to hang out with me down there. It would be so much fun.
I think so.
I'd rent a house that's big enough for friends to come in and out. And now my son is actually thinking he is going to be going down there in October with his girlfriend. They're actually thinking what it would be like to raise a family outside of the United States. And he is a horticulturalist, so he loves the exotic, um, what do you call it, agriculture that's available there, and fruits and all kinds of things. He wants to go to an eco village and spend some time looking at it from that point of view. And Costa Rica has no army. Costa Rica's government decided, I believe it was back in the 70s, that instead of having an army, what they would have is put their money into healthcare and education. So they have a 99% literacy rate of the people that live there because they've had good education, and they're number one. AARP, the magazine that I now qualify for, said that they're number one in the world for healthcare is Costa Rica.
Wow.
And low cost too on top of that. So
I remember that it was one of the places that I looked at because you can live there for under $500 a month.
Oh yeah. Well, it's probably, maybe 10, 15 years ago, but now, there's houses down there that are like the same prices as in Ferndale, Michigan.
Right.
They're not inexpensive down there now. I think the expats down there have brought up the cost of living for all of us. But I want to get down there and rent, not from Americans or Canadians, but actually get into the culture and, live in a community where we're not all the same color and race and, background.
Yeah.
What fun.
Do you think that as I know that a lot of the Amazon, I know Costa Rica is, although it's in South America, it does not have as much Amazon. It's not part of the Amazon.
Right.
What do you think about logging down there?
Oh, like in Ecuador
and
all this stuff. It's I don't like it. Number one, because we're finding out more and more how the Amazon jungle and our exotic jungles, and even Washington that has a natural forest, a rainforest there, how much animal life, mushroom life, and plant life is important for us because it's, there's all kinds of ways to cure illnesses that are, part of our culture right now. And I was just reading an article about the rainforest in Washington. Now they found that there's mushrooms that can take care of diabetes and cancers and all kinds of things. They're looking into these exotic mushrooms that only grow on old growth trees. Well, we've got to really protect the old growth that's there. And it's one of the things I like about Costa Rica is 25% of all their land mass is dedicated to being hands-off and, being old growth issues. But yeah, with the Amazon is just an exotic place, and it's really the oil companies that have come in to level off areas so they can use that for oil. But the native Indian tribes are getting very well educated, and they're standing up for themselves. And I've been reading in some of the newsletters that come from Costa Rica how they spend a lot of time, looking at what's going on in South America. And there's a lot of groundswell for people getting together and saying enough is enough. And perhaps that'll make a big difference. We're getting very well educated. And the internet, like we're talking now to anyone who might be listening, it's amazing how that information can get out there. So I have high hopes for it, that we won't kill off everything before we have the opportunity to learn the mysteries that our old growth has on the planet for us.
Yeah, I just saw a TED Talk recently where they're using old cell phones as listening devices.
For what?
It's for loggers, because what happens is that it's so noisy, and just the general ambient noise is so loud that they can't even hear somebody 100 feet away. And that if they're logging 100 feet, you can't even hear them.
Oh.
So they're now using cell phones, and if the cell phone hears a certain frequency, it pings somebody, that one of the people, and basically they're triangulating and doing this whole thing with cell phones.
Well, that's interesting.
So I will try to find that TED Talk. I'll put that in the comments And so that maybe I know that they were asking for donations of old cell phones, and something that we can get involved in. So right now I want to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about life's big questions.
Mm-hmm.
They're always fun. We were talking a little bit before. I just wrote a big article about what do you think happens when you die?
Oh, so great. First of all, I don't know.
Okay.
And I have opinions.
Okay.
So my opinion is that we leave our bodies, and there's part of us, there's a soul part of us, and I think that soul part of us rejoins that separated soul part of us that's hanging out somewhere else in the ethers and giving us the hints and leading our way and helping us out. Could be, I don't know, some people might call it angels or whatever, but that part of us that looks over us, I think we're rejoined with that. I don't know. The more I'm hearing lately, the more it looks like we sometimes are very interested in still what's happening on the planet. So we come back in different forms and play with people a little bit on the planet. And sometimes we, just disappear depending upon the connections we have and what's going on with the people we love down here. But then I think we get to hang out in the ethers, wherever that might be, have a good time with everybody that's passed on, people that we know in our families and don't know. And I think, like my sons, I think I was probably married to my son in one life. And I think I probably was a business partner to my other son. I've just had weird dreams like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we sort of like change roles if we want to come back and say, okay, let's play this again. Let's do this again. And this time it looks like, let's do it this way. And I think we lose the energy that's very grounded to this earth about being hard and rough. And I think when we pass on, we can look down and see the joy and the fun and maybe what we missed out on. But every time we come back down into the planet, or this planet, I suppose, I think we have this wonderful optimistic view about why to come down here and play. Mm-hmm. And I think we kind of switch roles and maybe sexes and backgrounds and colors and sizes to come and play in a different way to learn. I think we're kind of partners with the God or spirit or the sort of the overseer of all this, if there is such a thing. I think we sort of know that we can make a difference by coming down and by playing wherever in the ethers too. But I think we can have a bigger impact here on the planet. And I think that's why we like to come down to help move the planet forward. I think we're much more visual about the difference we can make when we're not here on our planet trying to pay our bills and find a place to live and all the stuff we have to deal with down here. I think we're made to have fun here. I definitely agree with Abraham Hicks when they say, you were really made to have fun on this trip to Earth. You just forgot. I think we forget a lot. But I think when we get together after passing on, we kind of decide to come play together again because it's so much fun. We forget about the problems, and we kind of we really see the joy in it all.
Yeah, I have very similar views. I believe that scientists have found what we are. It's dark, and they call it dark matter because they can't explain it. But it's what expands the universe. They're finding more and more that this is what expands the universe, and we are part of that expansion. So that is what we go back to, and it's there, and it's quantifiable, and they have now found what it is that we go back to.
Oh, really? That's much more scientific than I know about. Yeah, great.
So for me, I'm like, that's it. They just found it. They just don't realize that's what it is. And who knows? I could be crazy, but to me, I think that makes sense to me, and it just makes much more sense than anything else I've ever heard.
Yes, I agree, and I love that belief. Mm-hmm. I love to look at it that way, that we never really leave each other, and there's a group of us that are probably always going to hang out for eternity. I don't think we die. I think there is an ongoing part of us. I think that's what evolution is all about, that just things don't die. We just change form.
We're energy, and no matter how you look at it, energy doesn't die. it changes, it dissipates, it gets drawn in different ways, but it's never dead. It always just moves on to something else. And I believe that's what that something else I can explain away this way or that way or this way, but it's something else. We're still energy.
Yeah, I agree. Fun.
So what does success look like to you?
Success. Well, if you would have asked me 5-6 years ago in the middle of building my business I've had for 15 years, I would say it meant, first of all, getting to the $1 million in gross revenue, and then the 1.5 million, and I would see it very financially. And that's, you have to have a profit to grow business. So I would see success very much in that form. And now that I don't have my business and my life is sort of rearranging itself, both financially and how I'm looking at who I am in life, I'm thinking that success is much broader than that. I think success is being happy and joyful wherever you are. And if we can accomplish that as human beings, it doesn't matter how much you have in the bank, and it doesn't matter how much you have financially and where you live and what you drive. That's a real consumer sort of based approach of success. And I love to look at videos of people in India that are just having so much fun and they're so much enjoying life. And I love traveling. New Zealand was a great place that I traveled to, where people would get so much joy out of sitting around the kitchen table and talking to one another. And they'd be so excited to get together in that realm. And these were not really wealthy people. A lot of them were Maoris and tribal people. And they would just get together just to be together and love each other. I think that is huge success, because money can't bring you that. Now, it can allow you to do a lot of travel.
Right.
And mind you, I'm a travel bug. And I love having lots of money to be able to do whatever I want to do. However, instead of it always being the next step you're moving to, when you can actually love being with people now in the place you are now and gobble up all of the juice that life has to show you now, instead of always waiting to go to someplace else, I think that's richer in some way.
Yeah. What do you think about the number that they put on this? Happiness has a number. Did you know that?
No.
That if you make $70,000, it is the number that if you're at that level, all your bills are taken care of. You have a little bit extra, typically, you have a little bit extra to play with.
Yeah.
And you're not stressed. Somehow that's the number they come up with. What do you think about that?
I think that's true. I mean, I've seen that when I was in the middle of my business. I was bringing in probably about $100,000 a year at my top level. That financially, oh my God, I'm a single person. I had already raised my kids. That money helped send my kids through college, which is, thank you God for that. And I could travel and go where I wanted to go, although the business held me back with a lot of responsibility. But I think that's true. I love being able to, what I had was that my computer paid all my bills, right? I'd line them all up on the computer and punch the button, and every month everything would go out on time, every time. Credit rating was top, right?
Yeah.
And when I did that for 6, 7, 8 years, it was wonderful. Now I'm in a different situation. Now I actually have to look at the money I have and the bills I have. This is how I spent most of my life anyway, right? Except for the last 15 years. I've looked at the money I have, look at the bills I have, and pay what I can pay, and sort of figure out the rest. I think it's a lot more stressful to have the computer do the damn stuff, right? I mean, why not have to worry about it? Money's going in there, no problem at all. I told the computer, you got to text me if it gets below $300, and then I'll pay attention. Other than that, forget it. I'm good to go.
It's funny because I used to do that when I before I left my position, and at Pizza Hut, It was like that. All my bills got paid through the computer. Everything was auto draft, and I knew that mine was 25. I didn't have 300. But it was $25. And if I got to $25, okay, wait a second, what's going wrong? Because I always budgeted that I was at 50. So wait a second, what did I spend? Where's my money at? And I would have to look at things, but it was so nice.
I know it is, isn't it?
Yeah, but I wasn't at 70,000 either. I couldn't do much on top of that, but all the bills were paid.
Right.
Which was nice.
Yeah.
Now it's not like that. I'm working really hard to get it back to.
I know, and there's something about money and who we are and the struggle with it. We are such a consumer base. We have really put our lives together to, look at our bills. We pay for water. I pay for water at my house. That's crazy. I pay for garbage. I pay for electricity. I pay for gas. Look at all that stuff. Now, how many bills did our grandparents have? They might have had a piece of property. I remember my parents had a house that cost them $12,000 because my dad built it. And it was $100 payment every month. Now, my mom had to struggle with 8 kids to come up with that money, but it was $100. And they didn't have 16 other bills. The milkman would come. My mom would pay the milkman in cash. I remember when she went shopping once and she actually bought $100 worth of groceries. That was 3 shopping carts full of groceries. She had to take the kids with her because she couldn't handle it all. But 3 shopping carts were $100, $120. I remember going, oh my God, my mother's rich. But they didn't have all the bills. We pay for everything. It's crazy.
One of the things I remember is when cell phones first came out. And
yes,
I can't live without my smartphone now. Without my smartphone, much less. I remember saying to myself, I got a beeper, and I had a choice of either a cell phone or a beeper on one of my phone plans, one of my first phone plans. And I said, you know what? I don't want people to be able to get in touch with me constantly. Now I can't imagine going back. I thought about it over the last year. I thought, you know what? Do I really need a cell phone? When I was working from home, like I really don't need a cell phone. I really don't need this phone. But I couldn't give it up.
I know. We have computers that only last for about 3 years. We have cell phones that every year you got to get the upgrade on them. We have all kinds of electronic equipment. Some people can't do without their Facebook. You know? We have really embedded that. That's why I'm wondering, Costa Rica definitely has Wi-Fi. Most of the world has Wi-Fi now.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a lot of things that you can do from there. And my God, I can actually, if what I'm planning on doing is learning how to bring money in through my blogging, and I can blog from Costa Rica and create an income. That's amazing for people to be able to do that. Or people that I used to take care of, people injured in auto accidents, profoundly injured, quadriplegic, paraplegics, can now make money on home with their computer.
Yeah.
We have one of our quadriplegics, meaning that the arms and legs of this individual and his body does not work, only his breathing and his mind. And he is able to work with his eyes and move the mouse around on his computer with his eyes, lock his doors, unlock his doors, being able to be safe within his house by himself with all this equipment around him. And that was absolutely impossible before. He would have ended up in a nursing home being taken care of with 80 and 90-year-olds, and the guy's 30. So, it's wonderful stuff we've got, but there's a price to it.
Yeah. I remember when my parents got cable, and it was random. We didn't always have cable. Even after we got cable, we didn't always have cable. And remembering it coming back and forth and having it and not having it. And I was, the USA Network had the Cartoon Express, and it was on at like 4 o'clock in the morning. My dad got up at 6. So it was at 4 o'clock. I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, watch the Cartoon Express until 5:50, turn it off, go lay down so that I can get caught.
Okay.
So I've always been a night owl.
Yeah.
But now I can't imagine being without my cable.
Yeah.
Or my internet or my cell phone.
Well, I got to say, I have given up my cable. Not my internet, but I don't have television anymore. I do have Roku, R-O-K-U. That's kind of cool.
Yep.
And so you can internet everything to your TV, but I rarely watch it anymore. I don't watch news anymore. Even the public broadcasting system. I don't watch it because I listen in every once in a while, and still, boy, it still hits me in the gut. It's like, no, I don't want to hear that. So I'm a little out of it when it comes to that, and I kind of enjoy it. But I got to tell you, I love my Netflix. I love I love my Hulu and my Amazon.com. And I can catch everything. It's not the latest and the greatest, but I mean, I can be entertained.
Right.
But
I did that for a while. At the end of me working from home, I had switched to having a super basic cable, and it was only the only reason I kept any cable was because it came with a better internet. And it was cheaper to do that really basic. I'm talking 20 channels,
as opposed to 200.
As opposed to
plus.
200. And had that until my mom moved in, and when mom moved in, she's here more. So, and I understand that, but still, like, to me, I'm like, I could go back to Roku today. I can go back to not having a television. There's free shows I watch, really, that I watch. If it's on, I'll watch it. There's a lot of things. Mike and Molly is one of those shows. I'll watch it if it's playing. It's funny. I'll watch a rerun all day long. But I'm not going to go and, Mike and Molly's on, and you turn this on. So I think it's crazy that I think that the Costa Rica and going around the table, we've lost that.
Yes. By
getting internet and cable.
Yes.
We don't do game nights. We don't play cards anymore.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the things that we've really pushed to do, I've come from a family of 8. My mother and father are really much into family. It's really important. Family's important. And I just thought everybody was like that. It wasn't until I grew up that I found out there's families that, that's no big thing, and they all, fled to different sides of the planet, and they don't get together. Well, my family's been really wonderful. I have brothers in Alaska, sisters in Ohio, and a group of us here, a couple in Washington. But we all get together every 2 years. There's a wonderful log cabin that's out in the middle of the woods in Michigan that we all sort of go to. We're going to be there in July. And it's so wonderful to hang out there. There's no Wi-Fi there. And so none of the phones work, and everybody is sort of shut off from that. And the stuff you get to talk about, the people you've even lived with for the last 2 years, you find out things about them you had no idea. When you can just sit around and have a glass of wine or beer and just sit out on the patio and talk to each other, or go fishing. Or what's my family's favorite thing to do is put our butt inside of these wonderful, huge, round floaties and float down a river for a half a day with nothing to do except, we always have our refrigerator that floats close behind us. And we have food and we have drinks, and we just have a great time floating down the river and with our goggles. And it's just times like that are so memorable that we don't have a whole lot anymore.
No. And I remember growing up, my family all played cards. They all got together and they played cards every weekend. And Tuesday, just because they were all bored, they said, "Hey, we're gonna go out to malls." And
to the malls?
To malls, like grandmothers.
Oh, the malls.
Okay. The malls. And we would go out and they would play cards, and the cousins would all be together, and we're all playing. And I'm the crossover. I'm the crossover on so many different levels in my family. There's the older cousins, and I have cousins that are older than my mother, and then their kids are all around our age. So the youngest of my first cousins is my baby sister, and I'm right in the middle of right where the first cousins and the second cousins I'm the cross link from. Then it was always this push and pull of who I was going to hang out with, the younger ones or older ones for me. And of course I would always want to be with the older ones.
Of course.
But sometimes they would allow it, and sometimes they wouldn't. And it all depended on what they're doing and what kind of trouble they're getting in. And there was some trouble growing up. But we all played cards, and everyone played cards, and everyone, it was, or dice, and my family had game night growing up. And we would all play a board game one day a week. Until I started working. It was a requirement. You were at game night. It doesn't matter what, I don't care what you're doing. You're at game night. You don't have rehearsal this night. That's why we picked this day.
That reminds me, we really should start something like that with the Spiritual Life Center, because what John says, John's our spiritual life leader there. It's one of the things that brought you and I together.
Yeah.
And in churches or spiritual centers or whatever it is that brings people together, those are our communities now. And those are the communities that kind of fulfill the missing family members and things like that. Maybe it's an important thing to really create something as non-confrontive as a game night where people could just sit around and play cards or do whatever they do. That would be really quite good for us.
I think the issue for us was always just space, because we rent our space on Sundays, that it's whose house.
Yeah.
And I would love to. Unfortunately, this house is a little smaller than I would like it to be for that.
We can. There's people with larger houses. I think our job in this day and age, what I see is really learning how to slow down and get together and try to balance life like that, because I think we've gone too far out the other end with all of our electronic media, and we don't really need each other. You can entertain yourself for weeks and never have to see another human being except on a screen.
I worked from home online for a year,
right?
And didn't talk to a person other than a Sunday.
Yeah.
So
it's tough.
Yeah,
I've done that. Just 2 weeks ago, I spent the entire weekend blogging, working on my stuff, and I had to really kick myself out that second week, going, "Oh, this is not good."
Right. Because it's hard.
It is once you get in the habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, even with the job I have now, I don't see. I see maybe 10 people a day, 15 people a day. So a lot of what my process is right now is just remembering I can go out by myself because I'm recently single. And so it's hard. I'm forcing myself, hey, there was a world out here before. There's still a world out there. You got used to being home and snuggled in and cozy, and I nested and I did all the horrible, horrible codependent things that I did. But, and not lost the friendships, but lost touch with people.
Yes.
And made new friends, but still haven't got into that action mode with them. Where I'm moving and I'm still kind of sedentary, and I do a lot of stuff online, and my job is very quiet, and it allows me to do a lot of the stuff I do now. So it's great, but I find myself not talking to somebody for while.
I know, and it's easy to get into. It seems like in this day and age, you're either overloaded with 16 kids running around your house, demanding your time, or you mature into sort of this adulthood where it's like, Jesus, it's real quiet around here, and then it gets to be a habit. It's so quiet, and then you just sort of withdraw. It's real easy to withdraw these days.
Yeah.
So, and I think we can become fairly depressed because I think we really need each other a lot more than we think we do. Because we have so much entertainment around us, I think we lose that human touch, and that human touch is what's so very important for us to thrive. They say, how many hugs a day are you supposed to get? Really?
Yeah.
So, like I haven't had any hugs today, except I think when I came in. So, we gotta work at it.
We gotta work and touch, and touch is so important. Yeah. And just say hi and a smile. I mean, it's so hard to even get a smile. You said the customer is one of the reasons why you go to this one Thai place is because they know your name.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
You feel a connection, and they smile. They smile and they say hi. Hey, I'm welcome here.
Yes.
It's one of the things I like about the spiritual center is that I find that for me, it's one of the number one. I think that it's very similar to the belief I had before I walked in, and so it was really great for me. And everyone was so welcoming from the beginning. It was just so open, and I was in a relationship at the time. I was in a same-sex relationship at the time, and it was so welcoming, and just like that wasn't an issue. Okay, hi, how are you? Great. Yeah. And we live in a progressive neighborhood, which is nice.
Yes, we do. Yeah, I think one of the really great things about the Spiritual Life Center, and any place I think that you're really going to devote a lot of time and energy and love to, you need to be accepted for who you are. And that's what I love about the journey that we're all on is accepting each other, accepting ourselves, number one,
Yeah.
right? That's the big one.
That's the work we're still doing.
Exactly. It's ongoing work.
Yeah.
And then being able to share that acceptance with other people. So, yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about the blog that you're doing now. I know that you're starting to make money on it, and tell everybody about it.
Well, the blog, my blog is bizgamecoaching.com. So it's BIZGAME coaching, COACHING.com.
And
Bizgame Coaching.
We'll put the link. I think the link is on here, but I'll make sure that it's in the comments if it's not.
Good. So I knew I wanted to travel, right? And I knew I needed to make money traveling. And I am in my 64th year now. And I've had a lot of almost 40 years experience as being a registered nurse. And I've been doing a lot of training with nurses and social workers in being independent practitioners and having a business of their own and doing case management. That's been my specialty recently, the last 15 years. And I knew if I could find a way that I could communicate and people could actually go online and get that information to be self-employed and to do case management, which is basically helping people manage their medical care, that I could make money wherever I was. I wouldn't have to stay in Michigan to make money. So, and I knew blogging was the way to do it, but I didn't know anything about blogging. I mean, I give me Word and Excel and I'm good. But you take me outside of that into social media and other things like that and blogging, I didn't get it. So I bought a program, and I think it was $250, and about howtoblog.com. And it was some really nice guys, and I was quite excited about it. And what I did was I took the course, but all I did was get about 4 or 5 videos into the 50 that are on the blog. And I was like, oh, I'm not a good detail person, Jeff. I'm like, please, just show me what to do and let me go for it. But don't tell me I have to put a blog together. Don't tell me I have to know what HTML is or how to, start from ground zero. It's not going to happen. So I quit that and figured, okay, well, just about everything in my life, I put it out to the universe. Say, look, I want to do this. I have no idea how to do this. So show me how. Well, within 2 or 3 days, I'm looking on Facebook, and this guy by the name of Kevin Souza is sending out these great videos, and it says, how to learn to blog and make money too. It's like, oh yeah, okay. So I started looking into it, and I joined a group called Empower Network and iPass, and they have everything already for you, right?
Okay.
So I could put a video on by pushing a button, and I could put pictures in I was taught how to do that really simply. And it's all put together so that people can actually join you and continue to learn how to blog and actually make money as you're blogging. So I thought, okay, this is perfect. And then I went to meet with them. Where did we go? We went to Las Vegas. They were having a meeting in Las Vegas, and I thought, okay, me and 6 other people are going to be there, but I'm going to learn how to do this. By God, I know it. And I walk into a room. There's 2,000 to 3,000 people in this room, and there's people my kids' age in their 20s and 30s, and there's people that are 90-year-olds. There's people from Africa, people from South America, people from other countries, talking their own language and having those things in their ear where they're listening to what's happening on stage, being interpreted for them. Huge group of people. And I'm thinking, oh, this is a lot bigger than I thought. I don't know if I can do this. But again, people were getting up on the stage with my same story. I really wanted to do it. I'm not good at this. This is how I learned it. And I just kept it up. And I'm finding people that are doing it a year, 2, 3, 10 years down the road, and they're making great money doing this process. So I sat there with my ears open, and I'm going to be going to Nashville with the same group. Tomorrow, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to be there for a whole week with them. and just hang out with them and learn what there is to learn. There's a lot to learn to this, and it's fun because I love to learn.
Right.
Do not retire me. Do not put me to the side. Don't, I love learning. And these people, there's a lot to learn. And the internet allows us to communicate with each other in a way you don't have control. So it's like throwing your information out in the ethers.
Mm-hmm.
And then just whoever connects with you, connects with you. I love that whole sense. Like I'm sitting next to this guy from Africa who read a blog from a guy from Australia, and they had never met. And he just flew in by himself from Africa. And he had this whole room full of people. He had to find the guy that he signed up with in Australia. I mean, how weird is that? And the guy from Africa said, I fix shoes. He fixes shoes in his village. Okay. And he comes from a very poor village. And he said, if I can learn this, I can go back to my village and teach my village, and I can transform the ability for my village to be able to have income and make a difference. And I can tell stories about my village, and I can attract people to my village to come and see us. And he could transform his whole village. He got that from this, from being attracted to a blog of somebody that's in Australia. And I thought, you know what? Maybe there's more than transforming the world than rolling up your sleeves and going to work, working hard. Maybe it's just using the media that, thank God, we have in front of us to be able to communicate, and then communicating from your heart and say, okay, here we go, world. If there's somebody that needs this information that I'm putting out there, please have them come to me and I'll support them in doing it. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, having worked with the internet for a while now, I find that very true, that it's never the people you think. Mm-hmm. It's never the people you think. One of the people that is amazing to me, her name's Lorraine, and she is from England. Mm. And she runs a business there, and she's Buddhist, and we just kind of connected. And she was trying to buy something, and there was a big issue with her buying it, and it was a tech support issue. Mm-hmm. And we got to talking, and come to find out someone had hacked her PayPal account. So it was nothing to do with the site, and we, and she was so happy, and we had this thing, and then we found out that we became friends because we had so many things in common. And she's one of my biggest supporters now, and she's one of the people that I can't imagine my life without, because I wake up and I see what she's posted, and because normally she posts stuff way before I wake up, and she does the same thing, and I can tell when she wakes up because all of a sudden something will have a like there. Uh-huh. And I'm like, oh, good morning, Lorraine. And we talk all the time.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing. Yeah. My best friend is in California. Actually, the best friend growing up is in California now. But one of my best friends is Patricia Logan, and she's in California. And I see her, we talk constantly online. And a lot of my clients are all come from across the world for the publishing stuff that I do. Cage Allen, who lives down the street, he lives 10 miles away from me tops. I only see him when I go to Atlanta. And we talk online all the time. So it's just amazing how the communication has changed.
Yes. It doesn't have to do with your small area of people around you. Mm-hmm. And what's really cool is that I didn't think I'd be able to blog. Like, what can a person say that would actually fill up 16 paragraphs or 10 paragraphs a day ongoingly? And I found out that I could actually do that. It's like, it's a way of expressing yourself. It's actually, I liken it to, I used to sit back and crochet, and I love crocheting because it was a creation, and yet it was a quiet sort of creation that I was doing. But what I find that same enjoyment with blogging, it's sort of like, okay, Deborah, let's take a look. What is going on with you today? What matters? Not your little bitches about the world, but what is it that's happening with you today that you can share with people that'll help them expand their world, maybe, or have them relate to say, hey, I'm not alone. This girl's doing the same thing. So sort of relate to people that are out there. What's going on that really makes a difference there, that could make a difference in the lives of others and in your life. And I had a lot of fun looking into that. And it's amazing that you can actually have a volume to share ongoingly with people, and it'll attract who it attracts. So it's a creative process, and I love creativity. It's just sort of something that I enjoy.
Having read your blog, I can tell you that I've been inspired multiple times. One of the reasons why the Design Your Life blog exists is because of your blog.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I remember that in our talks as I'm going through, and I've had blog training also, and I remembered, hey, I'm supposed to be blogging. I'm supposed to be blogging consistently, and I wasn't blogging consistently. And I'm telling you, the important thing about it is consistency.
Yes,
and I'm like, well, I haven't been consistent. And how long? How many years has it been since I actually was consistent with blogging?
Yes.
But the funny thing is that I got a message from one of our listeners.
Okay.
And I asked, what would you like to ask Deborah? And one of our listeners, Lorraine. Speaking of Lorraine.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Lorraine. That's great.
On What Makes You Smile blog, there's a simple picture with Wake Up and Live slogan. Okay, she's read your blog. For me, it was extremely effective. How do you promote this to others?
Promote?
Wake Up and Live.
Oh, Wake Up and Live. Oh, my gosh. Well, it's part of who I am is I tend to get very serious. And I love looking for things that'll help others smile, because you know who needs it the most is me, right? So Wake Up and Live is about, to me, it's about paying attention to the little things in life. I have a girlfriend, and Lorraine, I actually interviewed her once. She's Alice, a girlfriend of mine that with $300 a month has traveled all over the world, sailed in ships, lived in Fiji for a long time, been to the South Pacific. She is just an amazing person who can live on absolutely nothing and has so much fun participating in the world. And Alice has shown me, I'm making $100,000 where Alice is making $300 a month, right? And she has shown me how much joy and love she gets out of looking at the flowers in my front yard. She'll come visit me, and she'll get down there in the dirt with the flowers and just say, Deb, get away from that computer. You got to come out here and look at this crocus. It's amazing. And all this stuff, she wakes me up to those sort of things. She wakes me up to being outside in the backyard, getting in the hot tub, sitting out around my fire, looking at the trees. I have this wonderful black walnut tree. But just waking up to life as it is. And if ever I get down or depressed at all, I think of my Alice, or she's on Skype with me because, that's her phone, is Skype, right? And I will get in touch with her and just see what she's up to. She does the Course in Miracles. She's into really some wonderful spiritual things. She was recently diagnosed as having cancer, and she had some surgery to take care of the cancer. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm worried about this because this is my wonderful, wonderful friend. And I asked her the other day as I was driving her back to Canada, I said, Alice, I need to know how to talk to you about this cancer. Do I ignore it? Is it better that we don't talk about it? Is it better that we talk about it? What do you want to do about this? How can I support you without overdoing it? Because Alice just has this wonderful outlook on life. And she said, Deb, really, it's okay. If you need to talk about the cancer with me, you talk about the cancer with me. It's okay. Because this is what I know. I don't have cancer anymore. They took it out. It's gone. I'm not worried about it anymore. This is me and life, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time dwelling on it. But I want to be able to support you. If you need to talk about it, you talk to me about it. And it was sort of like, how cool is that?
I met Alice, and I know that I can hear that coming from her. If you need to talk about it, let's go. We'll talk all day.
It's okay.
But it's okay. But it's gone, and you can either accept that it's gone, or you can accept that I have cancer. which are you going to accept?
Exactly. So that's the sort of people I love to hang with that remind me of that. And Lorraine, I'm sure you're that type of person also. But we need each other because to remind each other about how wonderful life is. Because if you're down, I'm up, and if I'm up, if I'm down, you're up, and we need each other to sort of remind us.
We played this game. We've made those phone calls. I'm very fortunate to have you in my life. You're one of those people for me, definitely. And it's great that we've gone through this journey together a little bit, and it's been amazing. It's been an amazing couple years, year and a half, something like that. I am blessed to have you in my life, and I'm so glad you're here with me on the first, the brand new month. Which show am I on? Awesome Chat Live.
Yes, this is so great.
This is what happens when you start doing multiple shows and blog and doing it all, trying to just saturate media. This is what happens. Which show are you on? So I want to end this. Is there anything I forgot to ask you?
Oh my God, we could go on forever, I think.
We probably could.
Yeah, this is really great fun. I appreciate this.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here. I look forward. We will do this again. We will come back in, let's say, 6 months, and I want to update on how the blogging's going, how Costa Rica, because you'll have just come back from Costa Rica then, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's right.
So we'll have to talk about that right after there.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you guys for listening. Next week we will have Ryan Cole, and he is a wonderful, dynamic person, and I can't wait to talk to him also. We will be back to video, and it will not be in my living room, which will be fun. So you guys are loved. I will see you soon. Thank you.
Wow.